Single-digit wind chill sweeping across Oklahoma, the latest reaction from students and faculty after a professor's racist comment, and Oklahoma officially has a new slogan and logo. This is OU Nightly.
Focus today on what we can do tomorrow to help the students heal, and are there solutions going forward for that class.
Good evening and thank you for watching OU Nightly. I'm Taylor Wynn.
And I'm Cal Day. We begin tonight with student and faculty reactions to another racist incident on the OU campus. It happened yesterday in a Gaylord College class when a professor used a racial slur and saying that using the phrase "okay boomer" is as offensive as using the N-word. Tonight reaction comes in form of tweets, messages, and news reports. Now the professor emailed an apology to the students, and others are expressing their emotions. But even with so many campus organizations speaking out about it, there are some people who say that aren't even aware of what happened.
I'm not in Gaylord, so I don't really know what happened.
Some professor, I don't know, I don't know if they even released his name, or if they did, I didn't read it, but said that boomer was as bad as the N-word.
I think that's something that definitely should not happen at the university, and I hate the fact that it doesn't necessarily seem that the university is really trying to do anything about it.
I feel bad for whoever was offended by this, and I hope that those students are able to find a way, if there are no consequences against the professor, find a way to either not be in that class or an alternative.
Now there will be a town hall meeting tonight at 8:30 at Jacobson Hall to discuss what happened. And tomorrow we have learned that the deans of Gaylord College will meet with the class where this happened to discuss how to move forward after what happened yesterday. And switching gears quickly, Taylor, getting ready for another major blast of Arctic air.
Yeah, let's get a first look at the bitter cold forecast from Marisa Nuzzo. Marisa.
Thanks, Taylor and Cal. Check this out right now. These are current temperatures. We're in the 40s right now in Norman and Oklahoma City. But this is the feels like temperature for the entire nation. So it feels like -9 up in Bismarck, North Dakota, and that cold air along with those strong winds are going to be making their way down here to Oklahoma in just a few hours. So taking a look at the rest of the country, Miami is sitting pretty in the 80s. They probably have a little bit of a heat index going on right now, while the rest of us are worried about this wind chill moving down here to Norman. So that cold air is on the way. I have when and where coming up in just a little bit, plus your Valentine's Day forecast, and we have a little bit of a warmer weekend coming up. You won't want to miss it. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Marisa. Bernie Sanders won the New Hampshire Democratic presidential primary last night. It was the first primary vote of many to come in the next few months. Former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg came in second. OU Nightly's Kelsey Hovanetz was in New Hampshire last night and has reaction from Elizabeth Warren's camp.
As soon as the polls closed on the first primary in the country, supporters from all across the country of native Oklahoman Elizabeth Warren filed into a small sports center in South Manchester, New Hampshire. The atmosphere in the room went from lighthearted to tense as poll results began to come out. While the results weren't what her supporters had hoped, one young man says he remains hopeful.
I mean, I feel like this is a campaign that's built to last. I feel like she has nationwide appeal, and she is such a good communicator and understands people. And at the end of the day, that's what makes a campaign great, and that's what keeps a campaign going.
Warren's message in New Hampshire centered around her campaign's longevity and unity within the party, despite the fact that no one has ever secured the nomination without placing in the top 2 in either Iowa or New Hampshire.
Her message to me means uniting the Democratic Party and not repeating the mistakes of 2016 and really dividing into factions.
Warren ended the night with 9.3% of the vote, awarding her no delegates from New Hampshire.
Shortly before Warren's event tonight came the news that her competitors Andrew Yang and Michael Bennett had dropped out of the race. Now Warren's looking ahead to South Carolina, and she said tonight that her campaign is built to last. Kelsey Hovanetz, Gaylord News.
Next up for Warren and the other candidates, Nevada on February 22nd, and then South Carolina primary on February 29th.
Well, a new museum could soon be on the way to the National Mall. A bill to create a women's history museum is headed to the Senate after passing overwhelmingly in the House. The bill received lots of bipartisan support, garnering nearly 300 co-sponsors in the House. Now, one of those sponsors is Representative Carolyn Maloney, saying this museum would give women their rightful place in history.
One man is dead and 2 police officers are recovering following a shooting in Baltimore. U.S. Marshals say 2 officers were attempting to serve a warrant for attempted murder.
And one of those officers was shot in the leg, the other one in the stomach. Now, both of those men are expected to recover. However, the suspect was killed in the altercation. The names of those people have not been released.
And as the death toll for the coronavirus continues to rise, the U.S. is taking measures to help prevent the spread of the virus. Sinclaire Jacobs has more on this story and more in the News Center.
Thanks, Taylor. The coronavirus has caused thousands of people to be trapped on 4 cruise ships across the globe due to concerns of spreading. The coronavirus death toll has risen to 1,115 globally. The U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is taking steps like ensuring medical manufacturers have enough protective equipment to prevent and prepare for the possible spread to the U.S. And though the number of newly confirmed cases reported from China has stabilized, the World Health Organization believes it is too early to predict the end of the coronavirus outbreak. Former Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick has ended his presidential campaign in the Democratic 2020 race today. This announcement comes after Patrick received less than 1,300 votes in New Hampshire Tuesday night. Patrick had skipped the Iowa caucuses in hopes of a strong performance in New Hampshire and left last night disappointed in his neighboring state. Patrick stating today that no matter if he is a presidential candidate or a public citizen, he plans to stay involved with the 2020 election. And more than a year after an alleged hate crime, Jussie Smollett, the former actor on the TV show Empire, faces indictment charges from the Chicago grand jury. The Cook County grand jury returned a 6-count indictment against Smollett for making 4 false claims to the police saying he was the victim of a racist and homophobic attack. And Smollett is scheduled to appear in court February 24th. In Cal today, British woman Chloe Haynes has been sentenced to 2 years in jail for attempting to open the door of a plane mid-June last year. And back to you in the studio, guys.
All right, thank you very much, Sinclaire. Well, strong storms across the country are creating some pretty big problems. Now, while Oklahoma has received snow and ice some this season, other states have seen lots of rainfall.
Coming up, where landslides are taking a toll. Plus, the Sooner State is getting a makeover. The new logo when OU Nightly continues.
Welcome back. Well, cold rain here has some people wishing for sunshine, but it's nothing compared to parts of the country that are dealing with the effects of flooding. Martin Lowrimore has more with this week's Earth Report. Martin?
Thanks very much, Cal. Flooding has been an issue for many states across the United States, ranging from the Washington state all the way to Kentucky. With rapidly increasing waters, erosion gets dialed up all the way to 11. This eventually leads to roads becoming cracked and in some cases completely destroyed. Even houses on these ledges and riverbeds can have their foundations damaged and in extreme cases lifted off the ground and carried away. Across the world, the Philippines are holding their collective breath once again. The islands were shook by increasing earthquakes as residents were returning back home. 77 earthquakes were recorded on Monday alone. The threat level was lowered from 4 to 3 this week after an eruption in January. Back in the United States, NASA is planning on part 2 of their lunar program. The long-awaited Project Artemis is now underway. The plans are to have people on the moon by 2024, including the first woman. Artemis 1 is planned to launch by 2021 and will fly by the moon, collecting data for future missions and reaching 60 miles from the lunar surface. Artemis 2 and 3 are both planned for 2022 and 23 respectively, and the big mission, Artemis 4, is planned for 2024 and will journey humankind back to the moon, this time for good. The future plans are to establish a lunar base and a supply line to Earth. The data will be used on the base for the moon and will be invaluable for NASA as they plan on their next stage of exploration in our solar system, that being a plan finally putting people on Mars. It's a lot been happening here in the United States. What about off-planet, wouldn't you say, Taylor?
Absolutely, Martin. Thank you. And the Sooner State is undergoing a bit of a makeover. A new logo and slogan for Oklahoma centered around imagination was revealed at a news conference this morning. The state's new slogan reads, "This is Oklahoma, the hub of America. Imagine that." Governor Stitt and Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell were among those in attendance for today's rebranding.
World's largest collection of American Western art. Imagine that. More shoreline than the Atlantic coast. Imagine that. #1 city for entrepreneurs. Why are we not talking about this? Imagine that.
The state's new logo includes shapes and colors that reflect the earth, sky, water, agriculture, and forest.
Well, someone in New Jersey is feeling a lot more money in their pocket after a winning lottery ticket was sold for the Mega Millions in New Jersey just yesterday. The ticket was purchased at a quick stop food store in Edison, New Jersey. The ticket was sold by the owner of that store.
Mr. Patel sold a Mega Millions ticket for the February 11th drawing that was worth $202 million with a cash value of $142 million.
Also that guy, that's for sure. But coming up, getting around campus made a little faster with some new scooters.
And the rain is moving out, but Marisa says the cold is here to stay.
Temperatures are going to be decreasing overnight, and we will see some single-digit wind chills by the time you wake up tomorrow morning. I have your full forecast coming up right after this. Welcome back to OU Nightly. Check this out. This was 1 week ago today. We didn't even have a newscast because campus was closed due to all this snow, and thanks to Austin McDonald for sending this. But our current conditions right now, 40 degrees, much too warm for any snow. But we did see a little bit of rain throughout the day today. That is moving out, and we will now have some cooler temperatures moving in. See, the circulation of this high pressure is bringing colder air down from the north. So that's going to move down throughout tonight and into tomorrow morning, but it will move out pretty quickly after that. So what are we expecting? Lows tonight, 22, but by the time you wake up tomorrow morning, it's going to be feeling like single digits. And take a look at Miami, -6, and that's as that high pressure starts to move this way. The coldest temperatures will be up in the northeastern corner of the state and then getting warmer as we move this way. But feeling like single digits as you wake up tomorrow morning and get outside. So be sure to bundle up. Don't forget your dogs outside. Bundle up those kids too. This will persist throughout the whole day with these strong north winds. So although the temperature says 34, it's going to feel a lot colder throughout the whole day. Friday, though, for your Valentine's Day, we will warm up a lot more, getting into the mid to upper 40s as that wind shifts to be out of the south and those clouds move out of here, helping us warm up a whole bunch for your Valentine's Day on Friday. And then for the rest of your week, keep in mind those single-digit wind chills on Thursday, and then a little bit of a warm-up for Friday. And then if you have to postpone your Valentine's Day plans for the weekend, it's going to be a great weekend to do so. Saturday and Sunday, we're in the 60s, and we're going to be flirting with the 70s for Monday, but it won't last too long because we'll have our next system moving in Monday night into Tuesday. So first thing we need to focus on, single-digit wind chills tomorrow morning. It's going to be bitter, bitter, bitter cold, but it will only last one day.
Oh boy, time to dig out the hand warmers, huh?
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to those 70s, though.
Oh yeah, Sunday's going to be so nice. Thanks, Marisa. And a new mode of transportation has been introduced on OU's campus. E-scooters like Birds and Limes have become a popular mode of transportation for OU students. And now the university has signed a 1-year contract with VO Rides to take over the electronic transportation needs of students, getting rid of those Birds and Limes. The director of OU Parking Services, Christopher Glenn, says the reason for the switch is VO Rides are safer with bigger tires and base, the draw in revenue for the university, and they are in fact cheaper than other scooters. The students aren't happy about the change.
I think it's going to be a little hard for students, like, not hard, but like, we've all already downloaded the Lime app, the Bird app. We already have so much money like put into our accounts on there. So I think that people might be a little mad whenever they realize that they have to go out and they can only use this one company.
You can download the VO Ride app now to begin your ride to and from campus.
Well, it's a big night for men's hoop as they host the Cyclones of Iowa State tonight.
Abby, the Sooners have been dominant this home season, haven't they?
That's right. Our Sam Brown is live from Lloyd Noble Center. Plus, you've seen him play in the blue and white, but he is back in the crimson and cream. Coach Murray has a nice ring to it. Stick around because sports is next. Welcome back and thanks for staying. I'm Abbi Bennett. The men's basketball team is entering the second half of conference play, and one Sooner is shining in a rather unusual role. OU Nightly's Sam Brown is live at the Lloyd Noble Center with more on the team's unsung hero. Sam?
Abby, Davion Harmon came to Norman as a 4-star guard out of Denton, Texas with a lot of potential and a lot of expectation. Now it took him a little while to get settled in, but he's finally starting to hit his stride. Harmon was entrenched in the starting lineup to kick off the season, a spot that would showcase his athleticism and decision-making. But as the season grew on, Kruger tinkered with the starting lineup, and Harmon found himself on the bench in favor of JUCO transfer Alondis Williams when Big 12 play tipped off. The two have switched in and out of the starting lineup so far in conference play, but Harmon hasn't worried about which player is getting the nod as long as they get results.
I think consistency, if you have a level of consistency is a lot. It's going to, everything's going to flow. It may not flow right then and there, but it's going to, when it's time, when the time matters, and it's going to be in the right spot.
Harmon's freshman season hit a high on Saturday against the 13th ranked West Virginia Mountaineers. He didn't start, but contributed 32 minutes as a spark plug off the bench in the upset win.
I thought Davion's play Saturday was the best one he's had in quite a while. He moved the ball, he had 4 assists, he attacked the paint, he made plays for others. I thought he played really well.
But with March Madness right around the corner, Harmon is focused on only one thing.
We just got to keep pushing, keep having fun, and just keep working hard, man. If we just stay together and keep playing the way we know how to play basketball, then we're going to rack up a lot of wins.
Now, if Davion Harmon can bring the harmony off the bench tonight, the Sooners could carry over that momentum from Saturday to an Iowa State team tonight that is reeling from the loss of their star guard, Tyrese Halliburton. Reporting live inside the Lloyd Noble Center, Sam Brown, OU Nightly.
Thank you, Sam. Now for the women's hoops, they fell to Bedlam rival at the LNC last night, 73-69. Lana Inusa led the Sooners with 26 points, but the Cowgirls showed no mercy this time around. With the loss, OU is 5-7 in the Big 12 and will take on K-State Sunday here in Norman. And former Sooner running back legend DeMarco Murray will be returning to his roots. Head coach Lincoln Riley announced last week that Murray will coach OU running backs in the 2020 season. Murray did the same job last season at Arizona. Sooners fans will see him in action for the first time in the spring game, April 18th.
This was a place that helped jumpstart me professionally and on and off the field. So just the people in this organization and having a chance to come back here and obviously learn and help, compete for a lot of championships. I was very privileged to have that opportunity.
Wine Wednesday means it's time for our Whiner of the Week. This award goes to Sixers center Joel Embiid. We think he deserves this one for shushing his home crowd 2 games ago when he was hearing some boos for his lackluster play. Then suddenly things go well last night and Joel wants the love from the home folks. Make up your mind.
Oh boy, it's always what you want now.
Thanks, Abby. And coming up, find out what a 90-year-old woman is doing to avoid retirement when OU Nightly continues.
I'm Natalie Brown at the OU Nightly Update Desk. 2 Ohio State University football players face rape and kidnapping charges. Defensive players Amir Reep and Jason Wynn, both 21, were booked into jail earlier today. The alleged incident happened earlier this month at a Columbus apartment complex where both Reep and Wynn live. They are scheduled to be arraigned tomorrow morning. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Natalie.
Well, retirement is not coming early for one 98-year-old Pennsylvania woman. Her name is Ronnie Backstone, and she's in her 88th year selling Girl Scout cookies.
She joined the Scouts back in 1922 for perspective. That's back when Herbert Hoover was in the Oval Office. Backstow is still a member of a troop in Pennsylvania to this day. In case you're wondering, the tagalongs are her favorite cookie.
I gotta say, I'm right there with her. That's my favorite cookie too.
I can't relate. I'm all about those Samoas.
But one thing that isn't my favorite is the cold weather that we're gonna be seeing
any
tomorrow.
Girl Scouts out and about tomorrow, keep it inside. You're gonna have to postpone cookie selling until at least Friday. Tomorrow, it's going to be very, very cold walking out the door. Even if your phone app says 22 degrees, with wind chills, it's going to feel more like 7 or 8. So morning classes, if you have an 8:30, 9 o'clock, even a 10 a.m. class tomorrow, guys, it is going to be, no, don't skip it. But put a hat on, put some gloves on, be ready for the cold because you don't want to be caught off guard.
Oh, man.
All right.
Thank you for watching this Wednesday night edition of OU Nightly.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night at 4:30.
Have a great evening.
Good night.